the thing that I'm trying to push the most is that I notice that I do with myself is I kind of just hack myself. It's not, the neurodivergence isn't something to not be proud of. It's not something, even though there are challenges with it, but there's ways that you can get yourself to do things. So I play with my mind. I know, like, if I don't want to do something, I have to figure out how I'm going to do it and how I'm going to get in the flow to do it.
Welcome to the Osumare Learning Podcast, where genius is celebrated, joy is the catalyst, and we learn most deeply by teaching what lights us up. I'm Parchelle Osumare, executive learning producer, curriculum designer, and former high school math teacher, and lover of all things wisdom.
And I'm Portia Michelle Osumare, client experience designer, business coach, joy strategist, and a lifelong learner of the sacred and the strategic. Together, we're excavating wisdom from our brightest and most brilliant friends and partners, gaining insight that transform how we learn and how we teach in today's world.
So join us as we offer insights, community wisdom, and unique perspectives on experiential learning. So welcome to the show. Hello. Welcome to the Osumare Learning Podcast. My name is Parchelle.
I am Portia Michelle.
And today's conversation you might be able to relate to if you consider yourself a neurodivergent learner / entrepreneur, because we have that in common, Portia and I, as well as our guest today who is joining us, who happens to be, we consider them a cousin, our best friend mutually, if you will. We're excited to get to have a conversation to share with you guys how we learn, how we grow our businesses together, and who we are, right? And learn more about us as well. Because if you meet any of us, you're definitely going to meet our guest, Micah, today, for sure. So let's get into the show. Thanks for being here. All right. Here we are in the building.
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
Hello. Hi, Beth.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
Glad you are here. Let us introduce Micah for the people. Micah is CEO of Mycah Technology, who's pioneering a new era in corporate operations. This is a bio here. You want me to read the whole thing? I can read the whole thing. Okay, great.
It's long.
Y'all.
What? It is long. You know the short version of how to introduce me. It's okay.
Tell them who I am. You know me. Yeah.
Micah is the Notion plug in Las Vegas. They are a Notion expert in helping businesses and business owners get themselves organized so they can operate at really high levels using a wonderful platform we all use and are big fans of, Notion. Round of applause for Notion. Thank you, Notion. But Micah, you're in the building. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thank you. And you did a great job. I knew you could do it shorter.
I did my best.
I'll make sure to give you something a little bit shorter next time. That was on me.
All good.
Awesome.
Micah, thank you for being here. This really could just have been called the Babe and the Best show because we have the Babe and the Best. Micah, you are collectively Parchelle and I's best friend.
Great. Same.
So that it's absolutely separately, but together. And we're so grateful. And one of the things that was so interesting for me and for us as we were thinking about this for the Osumare Learning Podcast, like we have to have Micah on because Micah is the third in our, business throuple. For so much of the work that we do together, we're so blessed to be able to work in partnership and in project together. We all have the same clientele base, and so we really get the opportunity to provide what I like to call a constellation of care around our clients. And it's been like the most natural and organic kind of rollout. And I'm really excited to get to talk a little bit about that so that, the folks can see how we all work together as business owners. And then kind of one of the reasons why we all work together as business owners the way that we do is because we are all of the neurodivergent variety. Neurospicy is how I like to call it. The ADHD girlies stand up, and a body double is a reality. And I laugh because I feel like for so many of our businesses, at least for my business, I wonder if it would still exist if I did not have Micah and Parchelle to body double certain portions of said business and really to be like the deciding factor between it working and it not working. I've been really, really grateful for the way that we've worked, and I've tried to do entrepreneurship a variety of different ways, and this way has been the most effective. I think all of us would say that we really enjoy kind of how we work together. So I'm excited for us to talk a little bit about how we work together and how our neurospiciness has colored the way that we learn and subsequently colored the way that we entrepreneur. And how we found our way to enjoy our neurospiciness in community. excited, Micah, to have you here, and excited for the people to get to know how much we love you and why.
I love you both.
Diving us in.
Yes, absolutely. And in true neurodiverse ways, like neurodivergent people, I feel like are just the geniuses of the world also, or different type of genius. And so I love how we've really been able to flow together and work together. And so I think one thing I definitely want to open up the floor for first with you, Mycah, is just to hear more about you and your journey in entrepreneurship.
Wow. Well, and first when it came to entrepreneur, I'm like, where do I start? But I guess it's from the beginning. My dad was, a realtor. So that, to me, that's an entrepreneur at its finest. And so I was always in a household where I kind of saw both. My mom was 9 to 5 and worked for Kaiser for a very long time. So I was able to see the flexibility, and I pretty much was focused on basketball, professional basketball player. And then once I decided to put the ball down, I was like, what do I do? And so I already knew that like the 9 to 5 type of vibe wasn't for me. Like I'm more of very much a leader. I see patterns. I like to do things in a certain type of way. So I knew I wanted to be in some sort of management of some sort. But I also am like, but I just want to do it my way. I kind of knew that eventually I would be an entrepreneur. I started with drop shipping on Amazon and stuff like that. I created multiple different types of businesses when it came to clothing lines. So I've been in different types of industries before, and then did some VA work a little bit. And then right after my master's program, my best friend Portia hired me as her COO. And then from there, everything else was history. It was like I discovered Notion, and I was like, oh yeah, this is rich and repeatable, and I can help so many different types of businesses.
Love. And I will say it's been such an interesting kind of reality entrepreneuring together, because I want to say like not even a year of working with PM and Co. was Merkaba Technology born. So I don't feel like it almost feels like we've been in both spaces the whole time.
We've been birthing both of our babies at the same time. It felt like that. Your baby was 1 and mine was 0. And it definitely felt like that. But we made it over on yonder.
It literally felt like how they tell you, like, don't do it because you're going to have a baby too early. You doing too much? It felt like that.
It felt like that, yeah. We definitely had some growing pains, but I think they're good. And I, even being the COO in Portia's business, I always give her a hard time of just like, you were one of the most difficult, but more so challenging. More so challenging clients, but I think the one that has taught me the most lessons. So I'm glad you went first, especially when it came to being like a Notion consultant for you and stuff like that, and being your operator. So just learned a lot, especially with like your field and your industry and stuff like that, and what you do as a coach. I was just able to grow in such an amazing way.
So I'm glad to hear. Well, it was a blast. Again, interestingly enough, from Micah's end, like to give a backstory to Micah's story, I was in extreme executive dysfunction, and I knew I was the bottleneck, and I had tried to do my entrepreneurship journey so many times and knew that if I didn't have a right hand, I wouldn't get it out. And I had tried and failed so many times. Like I think, again, a lot of neurodivergent learners do, because I could not get past my own schedule. I couldn't get past my own task to actually be effective. And having that person to be able to bounce things off of really did lay the foundation for all of the other things to stack on top of.
Yeah.
And I know in your space, you're the Notion plug, and Notion has basically saved my life. I think every time I say Notion, there should be like sound effects or something in the back for sure. And I know that is a tool specifically that really supports all of us really well. And I think also because of our neurodivergence, it's just such a good tool. So why do you guys think Notion?
Notion is Lego blocks to your operating system, and my biggest thing when it comes to people is that you create something that fits for you. I think that is usually the theme, especially with me and Portia and our businesses. It's like, let's make something that fits for you. Like, let's create a business that's for you. Let's not create something that you don't even like, right? You don't even want to be in. And for me, it's like, let's do operations. Let's be productive. Let's be effective in a way that you actually want to. Like, you actually want to do this thing, or it does bring you joy, or you don't feel trapped to have to do it one particular way. And it's a journey, and you can change it up. And like, it's just, allowing the play in that, because I noticed, a lot of people think it's stiff, but I don't think it has to be that way if you create it for yourself, right? So Notion really allows for you to have a workspace that you can create for yourself, so that you can basically put yourself in it. And the thing that I love the most about Notion is not only is it a system, because there's tons of productivity tools, but the uniqueness and the customization, but also the fact that they listen to their users. And I think that's how they were able to scale. It's because they listened to us yell about, please add this button. Why can't we add our email here? Be in the feedbacks and say, hey, we got this on our docket, we're coming. And all of the drops that are coming have been at least one or two things that I've mentioned in their feedback form. I know specifically for me and my business. And for other people, I know that they've been asking for the same things. And so it's a business that's going to grow and is really going to take its own lane outside of a lot of the productivity tools that's out there right now. Task management tools and client management tools that are out there.
I love that. And it's so interesting being on Notion. I am kind of interested, Micah, if you want to tell us a little bit of the story of how Merkaba was created and how Notion got chosen in the first place.
Oh, for sure. So again, I was under PM & Co, COO of PM & Co. And one day just came in happy, live in Vegas. Portia, it was a hot day, it was in the summer. And so I come in, the fans are blowing, and we're just about to start our normal weekly meeting. We lived no more than 15 minutes away from each other. So I'm just doing my normal little coming on in, excited, It's what the amazing part of just working with your best friend and just that whole entire experience. So it was just a great day. And so go in there and she's like, Bess, because that's just how we talk. Bess, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, okay, go ahead, tell me. And so all you see is her go searching, right? So she's got sticky notes all on the wall, y'all. She got sticky notes on her. There's a board that she bought for herself that had pins of sticky notes.
Organized my sticky notes.
Yes, there were the big sticky notes, the big white ones, y'all, that had baby sticky notes like this on them. And that was telling the journey of her business and stuff like that. So they were useful. And then the one that got me, because she's at her desk and then I'm on the other side of the desk in this nice little cushy chair. And I just so happened to look down and there were sticky notes, just rolling, little tumbleweeds across her feet. And so I'm just okay, we're starting here. Because when you think about a business, the CEO is the head. And so if the CEO doesn't, this particular piece, if you can't relay whatever it is, it could have been absolutely pivotal to the COO or to a team member, to your VA, then we're going to lose it. We're not going to be able to function because you guide the ship. And so I was there's no way we can't start there. And so I went searching, and I'm really good at analyzing my clients and going, you were focused way over here, but this is where we actually got to go here. You don't want to. And you might not see how it's important, but it will come around and it will optimize everything that you're doing. So I went and I already knew I didn't want to do Trello because me and Portia was in other people's businesses and did Trello before. And I was like,
I was a Trello girly. I was a Trello girly.
And was using Trello at the time. To be fair, you were using Trello at the time. So I was I've used it. It's whatever. It's cool. And I was just let me just go on the search because I get to do this my way. So I was bet, Trello's out. And then I was Asana's out because I tried Asana before. And so I went to YouTube, which is, I will bring up YouTube when we get to our other questions. But I went to YouTube and I started to look up ways that you can manage someone in Notes and how you can have a task tracker, and Notion popped up. And the first video, I was just oh, this is it. This is the system. And I felt it intuitively, didn't know what it would take me, but it was just that's it. And so I came back to Portia and I was just okay, I found the system. I'm about to go work on it and stuff like that. So I come back with basically a very, now that I'm looking back on it, it's hilarious. It's the most babyest project management system known to man. Now that I can actually look back and be oh my God, it was hideous, but it's because of where I am now. But it was a basic project management system. And so from there, honestly, that was the baby of kind of the Team XP in a way that we have now. It was the baby of that. But I came back and Portia was just like, what? I didn't actually do, because there was so much other things in the business that had to get touched. But I was just like, this is it. This is where we need to be at. So, and from there, that's kind of, I realized I was just like, hey, I knew immediately that like, this is rinse and repeatable for other people. So many people, and like even Portia was like, all of my clients need these things, like lead trackers. And so we really started to talk about different things that her clients, because she's a business coach, of like things that can solve her clients' problems. And I was like, oh, these are products. Like these are products that you could use to make sure. So it was like we were creating this baby within itself. My focus was really on, neurodivergent people. That's where I really wanted to go with this. And I was like, we could create still a task manager, but it's like dope. And then Portia was like, we can solve this problem over here. These groups of people need this like yesterday. And so we really focused on those groups of people, which were business coaches or coaches in general. And from there, Mycah was absolutely created.
And I wonder, like, first of all, Notion again has saved my life. I have to tell you, just because I think of to the point, Portia and I are also the same person. So sticky notes, lots of papers everywhere, random papers. I've even still got some here, but it's way less than what it used to be.
Yeah.
But having stuff everywhere like that, to me, just kind of, it's a sign, or it could be indication of neurodivergence and just like when things just kind of get to that point. So I was curious for all of us, like, what are some of the areas that your neurodivergence shows up, or how does your neurospiciness show up? And now, how you basically deal with that. How do you, not say deal with it because it's to be celebrated. How do you work with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for me, the thing that I'm trying to push the most is that I notice that I do with myself is I kind of just hack myself. It's not, the neurodivergence isn't something to not be proud of. It's not something, even though there are challenges with it, but there's ways that you can get yourself to do things. So I play with my mind. I know, like, if I don't want to do something, I have to figure out how I'm going to do it and how I'm going to get in a flow to do it. So I just find myself, I'm burnt out a lot. Y'all, like, I get burnt out. I think that's where my fatigue is. And there's different types of ADHD, y'all. So there's like 3 types. And there's one where you're super hyperactive. And then there's one where you're super low and not active. And then there's a combination. So I'm definitely the fatigue one. So I would be drinking multiple energy drinks a day. And so trying to get myself not to feel burned out was really important. Focusing on my diet, finally listening to all the women in my life that were like, have vitamins, have a veggie. That would be great for you. Just a veggie, just one, maybe, so just really listening to those things and learning more about myself. I think those were the most important things because you don't know how to move forward until you learn yourself. So I think those are ways that I kind of hack myself. And even what helped me, I had to have gone through the journey to even create the things that I've created for other people.
I would say even for me, my neurodivergence shows up in a variety of ways. And one, it's the only reason why I believe myself to be brilliant. I think that my neurodivergence, I have ADHD for sure, but also lots of other spiciness that goes on with just being kind of a tapped in human, extra ultra sensitive, which is half the reason why I'm so good at the coaching that I do. But it also makes living really hard, like keeping my life organized, being able to focus on what's in front of me while there's like voice 733 happening behind me. And also my focus is shifting so easily. I have lived with it my whole entire life. And it's so interesting because I had a little brother growing up who got diagnosed with ADHD. And our whole family was like, oh, well, he's this way. And now that I look around, I'm like, where do you think he got it? It started at the root and made its way on down to every single one of the leaves. So there's just like, it's like very much like Mycah. I've learned through self-discovery how to hack myself, but I've also, I think maybe as a coach-brained person, I see where it has created roadblocks for me. And in the business, again, incredibly difficult for me to be organized. It's still to this day, and I've worked more with it and I have lots of resources around it, but it's still the hardest work that I do is to be able to do the little mini things. I can, sit with somebody in the hardest depth of their soul, but getting back to their email, girl, catch me, you know what I mean? Like, or get into my messages, or the minute more than 2 people have said something to me, like my overwhelm shuts in and it's off, or I struggle with transitioning between big tasks. So I've had to set my calendar up accordingly. But back in the day, when I was just an entrepreneur who didn't know and I was just putting a plate down, it never felt like I could get anything done because I would have calls up against needing to do some admin, up against needing to do project work, and I couldn't transition that fast to be able to, like, I'm like, why isn't the 30-minute break in between working? My neurodivergence does not like shifting in between tasks. So a lot of these things were the symptoms that I was going through, and I had to kind of mitigate and find my own relationship with, to try to figure out how best I could work with the neurodivergence, because it does have a lot of benefits, but also kind of mitigate some of the parts that made it hard to work. But I do think that your average neurodivergent person would say, like, the living is the harder part, like the needing to like do the societal things. And the same thing with businesses, like twice the amount of societal things to have to like manage and do and follow up with and hold so many realities at one time. I would say that's been my neurodivergent journey.
Yeah, the shifting is very, very difficult. I find that like when I'm about to go do something that I may have like a little bit of anxiety, or I have to show up a certain type of way when I get to that thing, I'm like, absolutely nothing is happening before that. You want to know what's happening? It's me regulating my emotions. That's what's happening. You know, like, and I think, you know, a lot of neurodivergent people really do struggle with shifting their energy. And I think that's why time blocking is really important. If time blocking isn't important, then really designating your days for particular type of energy. You have to give you some credit, using your menstrual cycle. That is a huge step to kind of even like tapping in and trying to feel your emotions and where you're at throughout certain periods, longer periods, not day to day, but longer periods of time.
Man, you hit the nail. And I think that like I had to learn, like, very much like you said, I had to learn my hacks. My hacks came through cycle syncing my business. My hacks came through running my business around my human design. My hacks came through paying attention to astrological shifts, because they were happening to me, even though I didn't know that they were happening. But once I could put those things together, it gave me a bit of that flow, but I had to get there.
Yeah.
Parchelle, I'm interested on your end. What do you feel like have been the way that your neurodivergence has shown up in the business?
I definitely think it's shown up in a way of creating a lot of overwhelm, a lot of tasks, because I underestimated how much something would actually take to do, because I'm just in creative idea land. Like for me, it was because my neurodivergence, I think, shows up in a way that's just like very ideas heavy, being able to hold a lot of information and things of that nature. And so for that, it's like certain parts of my brain just, I don't know, like I said, like an overwhelmed shutdown. And sometimes the being in the idea space and then the fulfillment on the back end can be something that's, you know, over time just been difficult. Because for me, my divergence will say, yeah, like we can definitely do that by, you know, this time by a week, when really I should probably be saying 4 weeks, you know what I mean? Just triple, quadruple, whatever it is that I've said, to really allow space for and time for, you know, attention going to that. I also think that in my space and how my neurodivergence, in terms of the difficulties it creates, is I feel like it's been something that has caused me to feel solo, like very much alone, doing things by myself. And so I don't know how it ends up down that path, but it just does sometimes. And so I know, having met you all and being connected with you guys as close friends, it's like self-discovery took on a new experience in me altogether, to where just understanding those things about myself, which one of those also is wealth dynamics, you know, just even that just gave such perspective on where I am strong at, where I'm not as strong at. And I've been able to your point as well, it's like we have to hack ourselves, use our neurodivergence and, you know, unique brilliance to hack ourselves. And I feel like I've been able to do that around areas of accountability, which is huge for me. Like body doubling is my jam. So anytime I get to do that has been helpful, which solves the problem of me being solo oftentimes. And just having another person around really helps me to focus. Yeah, those are some of the things that initially show up when I think about, you know, how mine shows up. It's definitely like idea space. I know I also tend in that same lane to start things all the time and not finish them. So, you know, that's another thing too. So much in the start, but again, just hacking that, I can position myself at the start of things and then, you know, be smart in business to ensure that the other pieces that I have good team and support there.
Yeah, time blindness that was the first one that you mentioned. That is like a huge one that most people, it's honestly one of the first assessments when you kind of go and you're like, okay, how can I figure myself out with my ADHD? Actually doing like an assessment where you have a timer with you all the time, like having clocks around you, Parchelle, would be really helpful. And then being like, okay, I'm about to start this task. You be washing dishes. And then you guess how long it's going to take you. And then you start the timer and then you actually see how long it takes you. And you'd be like, oh, it actually, because sometimes you, not only can you underestimate, but you can overestimate. For people who are really anxious, sometimes you'd be like, oh my God, it's gonna take me forever. Like I cannot touch my inbox because it's gonna take me forever. But it'd be like, it took you 15 minutes to clear that inbox.
That is the case. That is the case. I think, Portia, we sat down the other day, it was like, let's set a timer to, fold the laundry or something. And we set it for 20 minutes and it was pretty much done in about 20 minutes.
Done. And I think that is so important. And like, you guys are inspiring me to add another worksheet. Don't add another worksheet to this community management.
The Osumare Learning Podcast is brought to you by two sponsors that are near and dear to our hearts, because we built them. First up, Business Cousins. Business Cousins is a collective of called to serve leaders who are building businesses that create impact that actually matters. We're about doing real good in the world, giving people the results they paid for, and having a damn good time doing it. If you're into running a business that you actually love, hanging out with smart and soulful folks while you do it, and being supported every step of the way, this may be the room for you. We host gatherings, workshops, and offer ongoing business development support that's as human as it is helpful. If you're interested, apply today at thebusinesscousin.com. Check us out at www.thebusinesscousin.com. And then there's the Author's Leverage. That's our studio for turning your body of work into powerful learning tools. Whether it's digital workbooks, private podcasts, or binge-worthy education content that helps you scale your impact without burning out, we specialize in transforming complex ideas into accessible, engaging learning experiences that your audience will actually use and implement. Our team of expert creators, instructional designers, and production specialists ensure that your wisdom reaches more people in the ways that truly resonate. If you're an expert, author, thought leader, sitting on brilliance, let us help you package it. Learn more at theauthorsleverage.com. That is theauthorsleverage.com.
We care about the people. You see how we care for y'all? You see how we care for
this assessment where you literally just have your activities. This could be a great thing for the spoon theory where you can have each activity and then you go and guess what time. I think that will be a fun game. And then you actually then say how much time it takes. So even when you're in your task assessment, your task management system and you have that estimated time, Parchelle, because you making it up right now. You making it up. It take longer if you're adding that property. So actually knowing how long it takes you, I think would be really beneficial for you. I have my strongest ones are the two F's, forgetfulness and fatigue. I am so forgetful. That's why you see me coming down here to write really quick. Cause I'm like, oh my God, and I can't interrupt right now. I have to be on my best behavior. So trying to remember what I want to say is, that's why reminders are so huge for me. And I think it will be really huge for you when you're like, oh, I started. Once it started, where did it go? Right?
Because I forgot.
Setting that reminder right before you leave to come back, whenever you plan on coming back.
I think what's so interesting as you guys are mentioning all of this, a lot of what I'm hearing kind of in the piece is also some of the ways that, we are natural opposites, but also all have our ADHD, and how some of the ways we're able to kind of fit in the cracks for each other. I think one of the things that ADHD folks always find is that community is super duper helpful for us. Because I do think, to Parchelle's point, when you can't achieve the things that you want to achieve, it's naturally isolating. You naturally feel like something's wrong. And when you're in a space of making yourself wrong, there's a shame that comes along with it that makes you want to not expose what that is to the world. And I find that when neurodivergent people find other neurodivergent people, they're like, you got it too. Like there's a natural oh, maybe I'm not as broken as I've been making myself seem. Oh, maybe I can live with this. And I've really found that with you two. I think this could be a fun place to explore. And I'd be interested to see who wants to start of how has our businesses and the way that each one of us is different helped you in how you run your business neurodivergently, I guess. And I guess maybe, and if that's too complicated of a question, let me know and I will start.
Maybe another crack at the question.
Okay. So the way that I guess that I'm thinking about it is like, we each work in each of our businesses, kind of like we work on a lot of projects together. And I find that our traits really do support one another. So like, I'm interested in, for each of you all, how you see those traits play off of each other. And again, I can start, like, it's so interesting because Parchelle's neurodivergence works in a lot of ways of starting things and not always finishing them. And my neurodivergence tends to work in, I really struggle to start, but I'm really good at finishing. Once you get me going, I can ride. And so in our businesses, in a lot of ways, PM & Co. has been a bit of the check and balance of the author's leverage. Like, I get the opportunity to help do strategy sessions for Parchelle that help to set a cadence of where are all the little steps that you need to make sure that you hit in this project to a certain extent, because we're doing strategy and excavating what the business needs are rather than just like producing an asset that may fill one need. We're looking at all of the needs and helping to make sure that it fits in the business. But then I find that right after that, Parchelle kind of has to come back and check in with my business to see what the next strategy sessions are. So it helps to be an extra body double to make sure that all of the little tasks are tracked and all the little meetings are made. And then it ends up getting thrown to Mycah to then build the asset. So it's another set of eyes that's even more detail oriented than mine and Parchelle's, that are catching what me and Parchelle may have missed all the way in down the back end. And it's like an easy way for each one of our businesses to show up and fill the gaps that we would naturally have. We don't really have to make ourselves wrong. Community actually caught us in that space.
It sure did. It sure did. To that point, I would definitely say that since I'm pretty good with the start of things and a bit of a creative, any graphics, videos, things of that nature, like that I can do. Like, it's nothing, because to me it feels like just getting something started, you know what I mean, in that creative space, and then handing it off for it to be used and, you know, for however it's going to be utilized. So I know that in my neurodivergence, like, to me, it's a what do you call it? A feedback loop that happens when you're editing things live, like a graphic or video, that I just enjoy that space. And that's a way that I know that in some of the areas where I know that both of you aren't really as savvy in that area, and you're like, I got to get something going, but I don't know how to start it. I don't know how to really do it. So I think that my visionary sense like really contributes to that. And I think in some ways also expands our vision for ourselves and even what's possible for us. Mike, I know you recently attended the Notion event, and at first you were like, I can't go. I don't have, it's this, it's that. I was like, but you could just do this and you can still be in the room. Like, let's make it happen. Like, it's very much like, let's go, let's do it, let's start. I know that I enjoy and have so much fun doing that with you all.
Totally agree. Wouldn't have been there, y'all. And I'm so happy. I was in Notion heaven, and it was because of Parchelle. Let's be clear. Because I put it behind me. I really, really did. And I was about to be looking at it virtually and being like, dang, I could have been there. So absolutely. I think for me, a lot of different areas where I feel like I benefit the three of us is in strategy. I'm very much at high level, and I'm very much, excuse my language, but be fucking for real. I'm the be fucking for real one. I'm just like, absolutely not. We don't have time. Y'all made this up, This is V4. I mean Q4 of like 2026. Love y'all.
Always Q4. When can we do this? Q4 of when? Q4. Next year?
Q4 don't even exist because we off. So that's my way of saying we'll come back to this. Like, that is totally the energy I have, but it's because, honestly, my neurodivergent of fatigue. I really understand the capacity. And also, I think I benefit our team in like, hey, let's pay attention to ourselves. We're not making ourselves wrong for shit, really grounding us in our emotions. Like, we can have these tough conversations because y'all, come on now. It's three career folks, and we're all invested in each other's businesses. So there are hard conversations that we have to have with one another, but making sure that we can be as calm as we can and really respecting one another as business owners and also holding each other accountable. There's been plenty of times everybody wrapped around to be like, you wildin'. And they did it in the best gentle way that they could, at the time. So, but I think, I definitely am emotional support and making sure that we have what's necessary, and also just helping with tips and tricks on how we can optimize things. I think I really am like, we could do that faster. and I could see how we can do it faster, or this is the most efficient, organized way we can do this. I know that it's annoying, but this is the best way that we could do this. So those are usually the ways that I think that I come in, and they absolutely support me on all the areas that I'm missing, that I have not included in my business too.
Absolutely. And you are the problem solver, that is for sure. And bringing us to reality,
I bring it down to like what we actually can do, and I try my best. But I would say on the opposite end, you guys are like, think big, bitch. Let's go bigger. Because I'm like, well, how much capacity do I have to actually get this off? And it's like, no, we're gonna think big. Even the story that I mentioned earlier of Portia's like, hey, but this audience is ready right now, right? Like you're thinking here, but look here, take the blinders off and look over here, right? So that constantly happens. And I think that's also how like Portia supports me, is making sure my blinders aren't on too hard, because it's a Scorpio at the end of the day. It's fixated and it wants to do what it wants to do. And it will take some time to get there too. And, so yeah.
Absolutely. And I definitely say I appreciate that. I appreciate what we all bring, to the table for each other. And, it really feels like we are growing our businesses like little cousins. Like that's what they are. And we get to parent them and grow them up in beautiful ways. I know Micah too. I always appreciate how much you like research and study also the solutions that you bring, because it's just like
stats today. I came with stats today, I promise you, but I was just like, let me know.
You want to, what's one stat? Can you give us one? What's the most compelling stat? Give us a stat, Bess.
Okay. So the stat was the different type. Well, one, how gamifying can benefit you in your productivity by over 60%. And then also how it improves 90% of enjoyment of if you add gamification to your tasks. So that it was like a huge stat that stood out to me. And I was just like, oh yeah, I am now not only with the task management to make sure it's in the dope system, I found the system, but also making sure that we gamify our tasks and bring joy to what we're doing. We don't have to hate it. We don't have to hate, actually going to go get our goals. We picked the goal. We picked it. Like you have the choice to pick your goal. So at least enjoy it along the way. And these are ways that we could do it in areas that people aren't really thinking about doing it in, that people are just like, that's the part we don't want to do that in. And it's a Scorpio. It's like, I'm about to figure it out for myself. So we're going to rebel a little bit against it. So
can we just stay here for a second? I think that there's a chew that I'd be interested in exploring, because one of the things, that I think is so interesting to maybe share is like, I think that we all play little games with ourselves, like neurodivergent games to get ourselves act. What's one of your favorite neurodivergent games that you play with yourself to like hack certain things in the business? Micah, you're first, because I know you have off the top of the dome.
Yeah. And there's some that I'm just like, I'm about to start posting these on social media because it's absolutely hilarious. But I think Eat the Frog is the one that's the most dramatic to me, because it is the most dramatic. So you basically go in and you go wherever your tasks are, or if they're in your head, you just think about the ugliest task, the hardest task, the one you're ignoring, and that's the one that you do. Like, you don't negotiate, you're just picking that task, you turn off all distractions, put your phone on focus or whatever it is, and then you just knock out that task as much as you can, whatever time it takes. So that's one that's just like, I don't want to do this, but I know it's urgent. I know it's coming up, so I have to sit down and do it. Another one, I think, because I love spontaneity, is the dice game, where you basically have your list of tasks. You have 10 tasks and you roll a die, and whatever number it lands on, whatever list of tasks it's on. So if it rolls on 6, you do the number 6 task on your list. So that one is like super fun for me. And what's dope is like, I can see this happening in communities. So I'm really excited to then do it where we're body doubling, but then we all have to do task number 6. That's on our list, right? It will be super dope.
I'm so excited for that. When that is happening, I'll be at that party.
Bet.
Parchelle, you got one?
Yeah, I have a few. I'll try to go as quick as I can, because these are it. So I know I network a bunch, and usually times when I go to networking events, like I'm like a introverted, extrovert, very, very much of a mix. So when I go into those spaces, one of the games I play with myself is just giving myself a number. How many people am I interested in? I'm looking for 5 valuable conversations and introductions and connections with people. And it helps me just to kind of say, okay, we can now move on to the next thing or what have you. So that's usually fun as a way that I kind of hack that. So I'm not feeling like I need to be in the spin of it, overdo it, because that can happen. Another thing that I like to do physically in terms of my environment is actually, especially in the mornings, because as I mentioned, I'm very much of a starts person. So how the day starts is also very, very important just to the flow of the entire day. And so I am known for leaving my phone charged in another room. So that way when the alarm goes off, I got to get my ass up and go and turn it off. And as soon as I do that, then I have my headphones right there on the phone, because I need to put on my headphones to start the next thing. So I kind of will make a little maze for myself the night before. So that way it's just like whatever I need is right there. So I put my workout clothes on the toilet, with the seat down. So I literally have to pick them up in my hands in order to, get the day started. So things like that I try to think of ahead of time. Body doubling is definitely another hack for me, sure, that I definitely lean into with my community here. And sometimes just getting on virtually with people will help me to just be able to focus on what needs to be done and be accountable to it. And then the last thing I'll say is, and I haven't shown you this, Mycah, but I created a spinner inside of my content tracker. So that way, when I'm ready to go and make content, instead of being overwhelmed about what to choose, I created a spinner in there that will basically randomly generate a type of piece of content that I can create that kind of goes along with my themes. So just in case I'm stuck or I'm not sure about what to do,
I need it.
You just click that and go.
Don't be blocking people's blessings.
So I can have it.
These are great ones. Absolutely.
Those are mine. Portia?
I would say again, I have a couple. As an ultra sensitive girly, speaking to the sensory of it all, I really like a playlist. So for activities that I really, really don't want to do, or that are particularly hard, I play a couple of games with myself. One game being like, if it is a long activity, I get 4 songs, and it's like 4 songs that I can really enjoy, or like 4 focusy songs to get an activity done. If it is something that's relatively mindless, but it's super annoying, it's songs that I would sing like in the shower. So I can just be giving it my all, and so that I can actually trick myself with the dopamine to be able to get the actual task done. If it's going to reduce my dopamine, this is not adding dopamine on top, which for the ADHD girlies, dopamine is our gateway drug, and we need it for almost all things. The other thing I really love to do when it's like an ugly task, I'm a supermarket sweep girl. I know I'm aging myself, but I set a timer for myself, for maybe 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and I move as fast as humanly possible to get as much as humanly possible done in that moment. This works again for mindless tasks, like clearing through check marks or going through emails that you don't really have to respond to, but you have to go and delete, or making sure the invoices are sent, or copy and pasting things, or builds. The other thing I do, that because for me transitions can be really hard, as a sensory girly, I really like a sensory scent. So end of my day, or I have a perfume I put on when I go to sleep so that my body knows it's sleepy time. So it's not wake up very loud thoughts kind of time. There's also a ritual sense to the way that I work my day that helps me kind of ease in and ease out. One of the things that I'm really excited to start doing again that I did in my previous apartment was the colors in the house changed when the day ended, so that I could let my body be able to get the sensory of knowing it's time to wind it down. So that way I have more energy to do what it is to do during the time that I need it. Because I can find with some of us that are neurodivergent, that part is hard. It's I have all the energy in the world when it needs to be asleep, and not enough energy when I need to be awake.
Yes.
I never thought about changing the moods in your room as you go throughout certain types of tasks and activities. And maybe the mood that you'll have when you're in admin, or the mood that you will have when you're on a call. I love these tools. This is so good.
These are good.
Yeah.
This is the whole podcast episode right here.
We love y'all, and we want y'all to have these hacks. I think that the thing, if there was an overarching conversation to have with peoples, is to note that neurodivergence for sure is not something you want to do in a silo. Building a business in general is not something you want to do in a silo. Most of us enjoyed the water cooler. We liked having coworkers, but now we work these businesses and pretend like it's just us and this computer and that's it. When you do it in community, there is an ability to enjoy it more. And I think when you have weaknesses or strengths, you may find other people who can support that weakness or that strength, or you can bring your strength to their weakness or vice versa. So I'm glad that we're sharing these tips and tricks, because I want people to not be burdened by their neurodivergence. I think that's something that, I got blessed enough for people to ask me, like, what are the things I love about being neurodivergent? There are amazing things about it. And it's something you just have to learn how to work with instead of trying to work against.
I agree. As someone, even though like I had a big family and we were in the church, and so the church was basically like our type of, like, my family. So it was huge. Even though I was in a community consistently throughout my life, I've always been very solo dolo. So I'm in the community, but I'm like not really asking for my needs or any of those types of things. So I think that, actually being with Portia, another number one thing that Portia has taught me is like, your community helps. You can ask, or like you can just like let people help. I didn't kind of understand how to do that. I knew how to do that for people, but I didn't understand like you also kind of are resistant against that. And so it is great to really be able to build my business alongside with helping other people build their business with brilliant minds. And then it makes you feel like I don't have to do this by myself, because I don't have to. I don't have to do this graphic. I could go and be like, Parchelle, please. And I don't even have to do that. I could just be like, Parch, you already know what's up. Like, I'm gonna need that. And then like knowing that without me even asking, Portia is like being an evangelist for Mycah, and just knowing that everyone has my back regardless. So I think and the best brilliant ways that they can show up, not asking people to overextend themselves, but like they're just showing up where it fits for them, right? That's also good, because you don't want to be a burden to somebody else, but also people can give to their own capacity, and they can, and you could get really blessed by what they give.
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap it down, this first episode, we couldn't have done it without you, Mycah. Like, this is this is awesome. As we wrap it down, please tell people where they can contact you, be in touch with you, and also feel free to share your energy management system and what you got coming up.
So on December 1st, the energy management system is going to be coming out. It is basically for people who are struggling with energy management, people who are dealing with burnout, fatigue, people who are ready to learn about themselves before they actually get into project management and trying to do it a little bit different. Let me learn myself first before I start building out all of my goals, my projects, and checking off all these things. And it also includes a game room, so that's super dope. And it also includes learning assets to really get you to learn about yourself. So it's an amazing tool. I'm excited about it. It is finally almost here. It's in QA right now, so it will be out on December 1st. I'm trying to get everybody past the holidays. And then as far as where you can reach me, is Mycah with Tech on Instagram. I think that's the fastest way. You get to learn about what Mycah is, and you also get to see all of everyone that's on the screen of some sort. You can be able to connect with us. And that's spelled MERKABATECH on Instagram.
We love it. Thank you, Mike, again for being here.
Thank you. This was easy.
It's so nice to have you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank y'all.
Would you like to finish us out?
Thanks for being here, friends. Thanks for listening to the Osumare Learning Podcast. This is where we are talking about learning, talking about the many different ways that learning shows up, and giving you guys a little bit of an insight into our journey as entrepreneurs that are producing learning for the world and producing learning for you all. I hope you learned something today. And please continue to follow us, and look forward to seeing you all on our next episode.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen and consider what was shared today. Thanks to our guests for sharing. Thank you to Parchelle for holding us in this container. And thank you for listening. We hope that something that was shared today sparks a new idea, inspires a new action, or creates something that you're excited to share with your community.
And thanks to Portia for leading this wonderful conversation and for bringing the vibe. Make sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and hit us up on LinkedIn or Instagram. We want to hear what this sparks for you. So do us a favor, drop a review or leave a comment with what you thought.
All right, friends. We will see you next time on the Osumare Learning Podcast. I'm already looking forward to it.
Me too.